Is wholesaling real estate illegal in Oklahoma? If you haven't heard, just a few days ago, a new bill called the Predatory Real Estate Wholesaler Prohibition Act was proposed in the state of Oklahoma and passed in the House of Representatives 86-3, and now is going to vote before the Senate. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss this new bill and my interpretation of what it means, why it's happening, and how it will affect wholesalers, not just in Oklahoma, but nationwide. All of that and more coming up.
This video is brought to you by Flipster, the nation's #1 real estate software, with tools for finding, funding, and flipping houses. Check it out now at getflipster.com.
If you're new here to this channel, I'm Jerry Norton with FlippingMastery.com, and this channel is all about ways to help you make money wholesaling and flipping real estate so you can live your dream life. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss new videos. First of all, I'm not an attorney, and the views expressed on this video are purely my ideas and opinions. One of the things I've been saying here on my channel is that wholesaling real estate is going to be regulated and what you need to do to prepare for it. The wholesaling industry is changing, and it's changing fast, so you better be prepared. I've got a copy here of the new bill that was just proposed and passed by the House of Representatives called the Predatory Real Estate Wholesaler Prohibition Act. Now, that doesn't sound very promising. I mean, they put the words wholesaler, predatory, and prohibition in the title. Now, I'm going to go over this bill in a minute and then share my interpretation, but it's looking like this bill is going to get enacted into law in the state of Oklahoma. Now, it still has to go before the Senate, but it passed the House by a vote of 86-3. That's an overwhelming majority. Now, before we get into the law and what it means, I just gotta say that I predicted this would happen, and I'm gonna predict that more state laws are gonna come into effect regulating the wholesaling industry. About 7 months ago, I released a video regarding the new law that was passed at the time in the state of Illinois that came down hard on wholesaling. Hard as in a $25,000 fine if you violate the law. Now, I break it down and I go into detail about that new law in Illinois. If you're into wholesaling, even if you don't transact in the state of Illinois, you really need to watch that video because it will affect you. And I'll put the link to that video in the description box below so you can watch it later. But on that video, I stated that the new law passed in Illinois was just the beginning, that other states were gonna quickly follow suit, and now here we are seeing this new law in Oklahoma that I'll be discussing on this video. Now keep in mind, real estate law is governed at the state level, so each state is responsible for enacting their own laws. And I'm gonna say it again, because wholesaling has emerged into a nationwide industry, and in the name of protecting the public, it's going to get regulated by the government, which is going to change the way wholesaling is transacted in a huge way. So it's absolutely critical that you understand these changes and prepare for them because it's coming to your state if it hasn't already. It's now just a matter of time. Now I'm going to talk about what you need to do right now as a practicing wholesaler and as an aspiring wholesaler, so keep watching. The way any industry is regulated is with licensing. Licensing requires that you learn the laws and that you adhere to them and that you're held to a higher set of standards. And what most states are starting to do is put wholesaling in the same category as real estate agency or brokerage. In other words, the argument is that acting as a wholesaler is no different than acting as a real estate agent. Now, although the structure is different, many consider wholesaling the same as brokering and believe wholesalers should follow the same set of rules, regulations, and standards and accountability as real estate agents. Now, this isn't a new concept. This argument has been going on forever. But like I mentioned earlier, since wholesaling is now a recognizable industry, it's coming under scrutiny, and all it takes is enough consumer complaints from shady wholesalers and regulatory boards take notice and enact stricter laws. I recently did a video where I exposed a wholesaler who tried to scam me on a deal. Now, had I not caught it and sold the property to a homeowner, it would have been a major problem, and without a doubt, it would have resulted in a lawsuit. It's shocking that there are wholesalers like that guy, Randy Guzman out there who are doing harm to people. Make sure you watch that video as well as another video I did where I share 6 tips to avoid a shady wholesaler. Now I'll put the links to both those videos in the description below for you. But it's because untrained, uneducated, and/or unethical wholesalers that are causing harm to homeowners that the regulatory agencies are enacting laws in the name of protecting the consumer. Now, before you leave a comment and tell me all of the reasons why wholesaling is not the same as brokering, I get it. I agree with you. I don't want more regulation. I actually believe if not done correctly, like most government regulation, it will cause more harm than good to the consumer because all of the additional regulation and licensing fees to wholesalers will ultimately and eventually get passed on to the consumer. My point is not whether or not wholesaling should be regulated or whether or not wholesalers should be licensed. That's not my point. My point is it's happening whether you like it or not. Regulation is coming to your state if it hasn't already. Now, I believe it's time the community embraces it, and I want to be part of the solution. More on that later, but let's take a look at this new proposed bill in Oklahoma. The first section here basically says you cannot act as a licensee, or in other words, as a real estate agent without being licensed, which is nothing new. And then this whole section here says you can transact real estate for your own use as an investor. And then it says this paragraph right here. Now I'm going to read it once, and then I'm going to go through it and dissect it more closely. It reads, however, it shall be prohibited for any person, partnership, trust, association, or corporation, or the partners, officers, or employees of any partnership, trustees, or beneficiaries of any trust, association, or corporation to publicly market for sale an equitable interest in a contract for the purchase of real estate between a property owner and a prospective purchaser. Okay, so this first section right here, it shall be prohibited for any person, partnership, trust, association, or corporation, or the partners, officers, or employees of any partnership, trustees, or beneficiaries of any trust, association, or corporation. Now, that is basically saying anyone, and you can't hide behind an entity or anything else. Okay, then let's skip these 5 words right here to publicly market for sale for a second. We'll come back to that. And then look at this. An equitable interest in a contract for the purchase of real property between a property owner and a prospective purchaser. Now, that is the definition of wholesaling. When you have a contract with a seller, that is an equitable interest in a property, and then that contract is an asset that can be sold to another investor. Remember, wholesaling is when you assign your contract to another person for a fee. So then this is the part that we really need to pay attention to right here, where it says to publicly market for sale. Now, it seems to me that this bill does not prevent the ability to assign a contract, but it does prohibit the marketing of a contract to prospective buyers. It appears that the state of Oklahoma is making the argument that it is the marketing of an equitable interest in a property, aka the contract, that crosses the line and is now considered brokering a property on behalf of the actual owner, for which you need to be licensed. So as crazy as it sounds, my understanding of how this reads is that you can assign a contract, but you can't market for sale a property that you don't actually own. That means when it comes to finding a cash buyer for your deal, no posting your deal on a website, no sending out emails to your cash buyer list, no text blasting, no posting for sale on Zillow or MLS, no marketing a property you don't own without having a real estate license. Now, as far as how are they going to enforce this law if it gets enacted, and how much are the fines for violating this law, and we're going to have to wait and see, but rest assured, I'll be watching and I'm going to let you know as soon as I know. So if regulation is coming and it's inevitable, which it is, then what should you do about it? The answer, in my opinion, is easy. Get your real estate license. That solves the problem. Why are wholesalers so adamantly against getting licensed? I've had my real estate license since I started 16 years ago. It's been a tremendous asset to my wholesaling and flipping business. I get access to the MLS, I can set up my own showings, I can list my own properties, I can get referral fees from other agents. There are so many benefits to having your real estate license as a wholesaler. The only requirement is that you disclose you're licensed. So when I buy a property, I add to my contract, buyer is a licensed real estate agent. When I sell a property, I put in my contract, seller is a licensed real estate agent. That's it, I disclosed. If you watching this right now can actually give me a compelling reason why getting your real estate license as an investor or a wholesaler is a bad idea, leave a comment and let me know, because I don't believe there is a compelling reason. Now, I did a video all about the benefits of getting your real estate license as a wholesaler, as well as a video that explains the process and the cost to acquire and maintain your license. I'll put the links to both those videos in the description below and you can watch them later. If you're a wholesaler right now in Oklahoma, or a wholesaler anywhere for that matter, and this new law on the table and the idea of mandatory licensing and stricter laws around wholesaling is upsetting and frustrating to you, then think about it this way. Those unable and unwilling to get licensed have no business being in the business. Licensing requirements are going to thin the herd and reduce competition. Those who are committed to the business will adapt and adjust and even find bigger opportunities. I believe if you want to be one step ahead, go ahead and get your real estate license now, so that when the new regulation and the new legislation is enacted, like in Oklahoma, you'll be ready to go. Now, I hope you learned something on this video. If you found value, then go ahead and like that button and leave a comment and let me know if you plan on getting your real estate license. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to my channel with hundreds of videos here and new videos released every week. This is the #1 channel on YouTube for all things wholesaling and flipping. And I'll see you on the next video.